Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome into the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Wednesday, April 6th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle. I am very happy to be joined by Duane Long. Duane, let's talk some wide receivers on the show. James Clark is a guy that Urban Meyer says is coming on this spring, having his best spring to date. A young man that was highly recruited coming out of Florida. I remember back in 1997 there was a fourth-year junior, D. Miller, that a lot of people maybe had written off that ended up being a spectacular two-year starter for the Buckeyes. I'm not comparing their games. D. Miller was a bigger guy than James Clark. James Clark's a little smaller, a little faster. But just the fact that maybe the light bulb can turn for a fourth-year junior. We've seen it happen before. Are you buying that James Clark can be a big part of this offense this fall, or do you think this is just kind of springtime, maybe the coaches kind of throwing him a bone?
Well, I think we get a lot of that out of this coaching staff, and I don't mind, but I just don't I don't go for the coach speak. You know, I haven't heard James Clark's name come out of your mouth or Steve Hillwagon's. I know a lot of the fans go to other sites, and I haven't seen any of them bring back information about James Clark having a great spring. He had one good practice. Good for him. I hope that he has a great season. You know, the adversity this kid will overcome if that happens. It's impressive. It's inspiring. But I'm just not going to get too excited over one practice. I believe that he has the talent. I think he was a great late get in that class. I just did not think he was going to be a kid that we could get in here. So yeah, I'm rooting for him. I root for them all. They're Buckeyes, man. We want them all to do well. But I just think that we're getting a little bit too worked up over one practice when, you know, we just had no reports until now. You know, let's hope for the best for the kid, but I need to wait and see.
So obviously a lot of players in the mix there at that flanker position, James Clark, Johnny Dixon, Terry McLaurin. I think Corey Smith will be the starter. He's a sixth-year senior. There's no way Urban Meyer would have wanted him back as a sixth-year senior if he didn't think that he was going to be the starter there. Let's look over to the split end position. Talk about some talent, Duane. Just absolutely dripping with talent over there. Talk about Austin Mack, Torrance Gibson, Noah Brown. Sounds like talking to the staff, Noah Brown's the starter, but of course, you know, he's the veteran guy. You know, he was in line to be a starter last year as a sophomore, got hurt. Now he's coming back as a third-year sophomore after redshirting last year. You know, of those three guys, maybe somebody else can work their way in the mix, but of those three guys, Austin Mack, Torrance Gibson, and Noah Brown, who do you give the edge to be the starter?
Well, I mean, if you go by what's coming out of camp, you're going to go with Austin Mack. Every day, every practice, we hear that this kid is standing out. And it's not like Noah Brown had established himself. It was more default, put the best athlete out there. He caught one ball, I believe. Has he caught a ball? I mean, it's not exactly a great deal of experience. He missed last year altogether. I just don't see where he's got such a leg up that we assume Noah Brown's going to be the guy. I think that whoever starts first game, I think by the time the Big Ten season rolls around, we'll see Austin Mack in there. I love what I'm hearing about this kid. Loved what I saw out of his season last year in high school and the camps before that. He's just on an upward trend here. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. He's the big split in we need. Noah Brown is too, but I just don't see where Noah Brown's experience is so great that it's going to keep Austin Mack from being the guy. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens game one. Then let's look a few games down the line at who's a starter. Right now, I'm not that worried about it. We finally got some big athletic guys at split end, guys that fit the role. The big guy goes down the field, throw the back shoulder, and he just goes up and gets it. We've got a few of those, and I remember a time when we didn't really have one. So let's just be happy at the bounty we've got. We've got Victor coming in. We look good for Grimes next year. It's Urban Meyer finds problems and fixes them. We had linebacker problems when he first came here. Now we're not even recruiting linebackers because we got such a good selection of linebackers. So he's a problem fixer. He's taking care of it. And we got some athletes out there. That's what we need to be happy about. We got a number of guys who can step into that role.
I'll tell you, Duane, looking at these split ends, not only are they talented, but it could be very intriguing when you look at if things don't work out well for Torrance Gibson. Talking to you, obviously, you're talking up Austin Mack. Everybody loves Austin Mack. Talking to the coaches, not only do they talk up Austin Mack, they talk up Noah Brown. Where does this leave Torrance Gibson? I mean, this is a big-time player. I mean, especially, let's not discount the fact that people around him are telling him, hey, you have to play this year. You've moved from quarterback. If he's now behind Noah Brown, if he's behind Austin Mack, where does that leave him? Or could Torrance Gibson break out this year and be a big star for the Buckeyes?
Well, it's just going to depend on what happens in front of him. If these guys perform, he's got a situation. It's the thing about moving positions, Dave. He doesn't know what he's doing. Austin Mack has probably been playing receiver since Pee Wee. The guys that we have, so many of them are ahead of him. They know what they're doing. They have some idea. Well, let's not say they know what they're doing. They have some idea. They've got basics. They've gone to wide receiver 101, and he's just now doing that in college. So as athletic as he is, he's still, there's a learning curve, and he probably is not there yet. They're further up on the learning curve, and then you add that these are some good athletes themselves. So, it really is an interesting dilemma. I agree with you. It's just, let's see what happens with him. You have to wonder if he's third, fourth string, does he stick around? And right now, you have to look at that. Johnny Dixon's having a real nice spring. He's staying healthy. You got Matt Corey Smith, the one veteran on the roster, so he's going to be in there. There's some talent here, and I'm forgetting Noah Brown. He may not be a good fit right now. Super athlete may not fit. Think about that, Dave, that a kid like Torrance Gibson can't break into our lineup. That says something about where this program is right now.
And don't you think the ship has sailed on him moving back to quarterback? I'm sure a lot of people listening to the show are thinking, well, if things don't work out at wide receiver, could he move back to quarterback? I think that ship has sailed. What do you say, Duane?
I say you can't rule it out simply because that's where his comfort zone was. And maybe we can get something out of him there. Put him back there where he's comfortable, and even if it's always a quarterback draw, I mean, you got a super athlete handling the ball. I just don't know if I wouldn't completely close the door on it. Get something out of him, and he's probably going to be happier rather than learning how to play receiver. He's advancing his education at quarterback. I think it may be something to think about. If he is going to flounder around at the back of the roster, moving back to quarterback, maybe we can get something out of him there.
That's a good point. I think for Ohio State's sake, hopefully he becomes a big-time wide receiver. He looked good at the scrimmage this past Saturday to me. Caught a nice deep ball from Joe Burrow, which might have been the highlight of the whole scrimmage. But that's a good point, Duane. I think I was a little too quick to say maybe the ship has sailed. If things don't work out for him at wide receiver, I mean, why not try him back at quarterback? But, if the Buckeyes could have their druthers, let's hope Torrance Gibson turns into a big-time wide receiver. One last topic here, sticking with the wide receiver theme. Let's look at the flankers. Let's break these guys down. I think Corey Smith will be the starter. You can tell me if you agree or disagree with that. And then who's going to be maybe just the top, 2 or 3 guys among that group? Obviously, they're going to rotate a lot. If Corey Smith's not the starter, who is going to be? You're talking about guys like James Clark, Johnny Dixon, Terry McLaurin. I think Paris Campbell's going to play a lot. Of that group of flankers, who do you really like?
Well, I think that you brought up at the top of the show a very important point, and that is, why is Corey Smith back here if not for experience? So I think you just got to put him in there at he's going to be a starter, and then you work from there. It's who do they like better? Johnny Dixon, I've heard about him as a split end. I've heard of he's not ideal size as split end. He actually is a better fit at flanker. If he's healthy, I think he plays a role. I think he is probably going to be number 2 at the flanker spot. McLaurin, we don't know what we got there yet. We saw he showed well in the spring game last year, didn't play a lot last year. So we don't know. We know he's a fast guy, and what little we have seen of him, he showed. I think you got to look at him in there. I am just not a big Campbell fan. He was the one given the opportunity. I know he's got all this speed, and he's got better size than most of the guys that'll be a flanker, but he had opportunities and didn't get it done. He's got to show me that he's going to hold on to the football. It doesn't seem like a very natural thing to him. So if he shows that he can hang on to the ball, he's one that you gotta think is going to get a lot of playing time just because of that ability to. If he gets behind the defense, it's over. And I like running backs moving to receiver because they're guys that have been told since Pee Wee League, keep your legs moving, keep pushing, try to break tackles. Receivers tend to go down a little bit easier. Guys that have been out there playing wide receiver all their life. The kids that have been running backs keep those legs churning and break tackles and get away. They're more dangerous in the open field when they've played some running back.
Fantastic insights, as always, out of Duane Long. Thank you very much, Duane. Thank you to the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.